Hi, my name is Mitch Starkman. I am a sports and orthopedic physical therapist, and I have hemophilia. So let's talk. Hey everyone, two quick updates before we jump into today's video. Number one, we have a free giveaway today. If you head over to deskjockeyphysio.com/guide, you can download your 5-step guide of how to set up the perfect laptop home office, which you can do right here, okay? And number two, we are now offering online physiotherapy sessions for you folks out there. To learn more about that, head over to deskjockeyphysio.com/online, and we'll see you there. All right, otherwise, enjoy the video, guys. Thanks for watching. All right, so let's talk about muscle bleeds. So as a kid growing up, there was tons of times where there was misinformation I didn't quite understand. And now as someone in the rehab seat who works with, average folks, hemophilia, and also my own injuries over the years, I wanted to share a little bit of light. So in this video, we're gonna talk about how a joint bleed happens and what causes it, or muscle bleed. So effectively, what hemophilia means is that we are missing one of the tools in this chain, or one of the kinks in this chain. So we have these different factors, they call them. For all intents and purposes, we're going to talk about them as books today. And if one of those books is missing or smaller and not strong enough to tip the one next over, the chain is stopped and the clot or the scab does not form. So what that means is this. So I go ahead and I knock my quad. As a kid, I did that all the time playing sports, whatever it might be. Get a contusion to my quad or to my bicep or to my tricep, one of these muscular areas. And what happens is we start to have a little bit of a bleed or a bruise that starts to form. And a bruise is effectively bleeding in the muscle. Same as any other person out. The difference with someone who has hemophilia is they're missing part of that chain that will cause the healing. So for example, if I set up book number 1, book number 2, and book number 3, right? So I'm set up. Great books, by the way. So in this situation, if I go ahead and start off the chain, and this is, we're gonna say, our kind of hemophilia weak link, factor 8 or factor 9 in this side. So if I go ahead and tip this over, right? So I'm going to start that chain, I bring healing factors to the area, which we'll do a video on about what happens at the bleed site. But for right now, we wanna know what's causing it. So my injury happens, the factors come to the area, and the process starts. I hit over one, hits over the other, hits over the other, so on, we form a clot. The difference in someone who has hemophilia is when we set ourselves up, I'm gonna go ahead and sub this guy out for a smaller degree of that factor. So what that means is we can, depending on the level and severity of your hemophilia, this can be smaller or bigger. But if I go ahead, let's just say someone has more of a severe hemophilia and they have less clotting factor, what would happen is the same process starts. We get an injury, we start to clot, boom, boom, boom. We head over to this weak link, we hit it, it drops, and we don't quite knock over this other book to contain or continue that process to lead to the clot forming and healing. The other thing that can sometimes happen is we have this guy, and it does in fact hit, but it isn't quite as heavy to make it fall over. And so in that case, it might sit and slowly, or it will kind of partially knock it over, but then because the bleeding is still happening, it's not quite ever able to keep up. So what happens in these muscle bleeds effectively is there's a weak chain in the link, a weak link in the chain, and that doesn't allow the process to continue and create that clot or scab in the muscle to control the bleeding. So what we do as a treatment standpoint is we have artificial sort of factor that we create, which will turn this guy back into this one. Now, what that means is that it will temporarily increase that and be able to do this and over again, continue that process to clot, because muscles tend to work and move as we walk around and go about our day. And in doing that, we'll continually break that scab or sort of break it down, and we need to have a full level of our factor to continue to heal it. A lot of times for hemophiliacs, they might even be able to initially clot if we laid there like robots. But the problem is we move, we walk, we go to the bathroom, and then we're not actually able to keep up with maintaining that clot as it continually breaks and moves as we go throughout our days. So the question at the start of this was, what causes that muscle bleed to happen? And at a biomechanical level, that's what's happening, is we have a weak link in that chain. One of the factors is missing or not quite as powerful. Depending on your level, it's less or more powerful. And it stops that chain of reaction moving forward and eventually leading to that clot. So I hope that helps clear that up. Stay tuned to our other videos on a bit more shedding the light on hemophilia from a physiotherapist with hemophilia. So make sure you subscribe below, drop down a like, and share it with your friends. I hope it helps. I wish I had some of this information when I was a kid. And take care of yourself. All the best.